Hi there, welcome to Zero to Hero Microsoft Intune training series, and this will be day 9. We'll learn in this lecture more about Microsoft Windows enrollment. We will begin with enrollment options that we have for your personal devices, or you call it as a bring your own device. Later point we'll move to company owned devices with the options like Windows Autopilot, manual enrollment, and corporate enrollment with the co-management. With the SCCM basically we would use here, and corporate device identifiers. So these are all the options are available, and if we just look at from overall high level, so there would be definitely pros and cons on each of these enrollment options that we have. For example, if you look at the co-management, meaning you have an SCCM as well as an Intune, then definitely there is some of the drawbacks, right? So you see here DM account cannot be used, that is the device enrollment manager account that cannot be used if you're using the co-managed devices. So that's fine. If you look at other other possible enrollment options also, some are other way you would be losing some additional options, but nothing giving you here full set of features, right? Because it depends on the enrollment, and in a companies we would definitely use multiple type of enrollments. We will not stick to one type of enrollment. That is the takeout within the last 1 minute of discussion. Okay, so that being said, let's actually jump into more practical. So this will be the Microsoft Intune portal. We call this as a Microsoft Intune Admin Center. So if you want to navigate after taking the trial license, you can navigate to intune.microsoft.com and you would be landing to this page. And now we are focusing on Microsoft Intune with Windows enrollment. So navigate to devices and click on Windows. So the easiest method, always look for the platform based learning. Otherwise you can directly also learn. So in our case, either you try to learn by the platform, or you can also look for the enrollment options, because if you look at this is a dedicated section talks about the device onboarding. So we can use this option also. So in our case, either navigating to device by platform and navigate to enrollment. This is also takes to the same place, or you can navigate to device onboarding, enrollment, and you have here the same options with specific to each tab talks about a different type of platform or the options that you have. So in our case, if we go back to Windows tab and click on automatic enrollment, make sure that you have enabled automatic enrollment options, either with by selecting to some of the scope with a specific group name, so that the users who are part of that group are eligible to enroll into Microsoft Intune. So you might have a question, why should I do? If you scope to everyone within your organization, if they have a license, they can enroll their devices. If you want to restrict that, you can do it by a group based. Just like navigate here. For example, you want to enroll only accounts team, select it and click on save. That way it will be only specific to a specific group of users who can enroll. And coming back to the Windows information protection, you can click on none, or you can restore with the default URLs, and you don't need to configure anything here. This is more or less is nothing related to Windows bring your own device or personal devices, or you call it as a corporate enrollment. It doesn't relate to that, but it is related in other way. We would be learning later point this method. Ideally, just to give you here an idea, the first method that we have been looking into here, in this case I call it as this method, is talks about MDM, means mobile device management method. And just in case, if you don't want the devices to enroll in MDM, okay, because this is what is going to happen is, with this method the device will get registered and within Microsoft Intune, meaning the device will be shown here within Microsoft Intune. Whereas if you use the blue color box, which is this method, okay, called WIP or Windows Information Protection method, with this method the devices are not going to register, they're not going to enroll, but still you will have a control on your corporate data. Without enrolling also, you can have some control on those mobile devices. That's called the MAM, Mobile Application Management, we call it MAM, or in this case you can say not fully enrolled, but you still have control. So in our case, for now, with the bring your own device, we are focusing on with only this pink color box, which is the bring your own device or corporate enrollment, this method. And we would come back to this blue color drawing, in this case, this method called MAM, Mobile Application Management. We will learn this method later point in a dedicated section or dedicated chapter later point. And now, what are the pre-requirements? Is the pre-requirement, once you have the license, you come back here and configure this automatic method so that the users are ready to enroll. And make sure that if you're trying to do with some kind of autopilot, all of that, you might need to have at least the Microsoft Entra P1 license for automatic name resolution. Otherwise, you might have to register your DNS information with a CNAME. So if you see here, this is where the CNAME is there. This is where you have to write your a CNAME configuration. Otherwise, you need to have a P1 license in order to enroll. So without any confusion, this is only required, this step to configure for autopilot, not now, and we are not going to do this. Okay, I would be talking in a different lecture more dedicatedly for Microsoft Windows autopilot method. Now we are talking about only the bring your own device and the corporate enrollment with other options other than the Windows autopilot. So with this method, once you have configured auto enrollment, go back to any of your device and try to enroll. During the enrollment also, you can give some options for your end users. So that's something called the device category, we call it. So during the enrollment, users can choose what type of their device category. So look into the device categories. So if you just navigate to devices, you have an option called device categories. So this is where under manage devices, you can configure multiple device categories. Let's say I might have a team like a sales, accounting, point of sale, or device that are belongs to development. I could create from here, like in a test example. And once I created these categories, it will be visible there, right? So what would happen is during the enrollment, the user can select the type of the category. So this way we can empower the end users to select their device category type. So you might have a question, what is the advantage with this? So when we empower the users, we can create a dynamic Entra group, for example, with all the devices with accounting. By going back to groups, we can create here a dynamic group, simply typing the required group name, and in the query you can give device category equals to accounting. This way the dynamic query was built here, and click on create. This would automatically create all the devices that are selected during the enrollment by end users. Since we have empowered them, automatically their device belongs to this specific group called all accounting users, which is a dynamic group. And you could target your security baselines, applications, all of that, and they can receive all of those things. Again, my friends, this is an optional setting that I'm talking about the device categories. So it all depends how do you want to proceed. But so far what is important is it's important in the enrollment, automatic configuration should be enabled. Okay, and also if you open the enter.microsoft.com and navigate to devices, all devices or the overview ideally, you would see here a specific setting called device settings. As soon as you click on here, you have an option how the users can they register or not. And also users may register the devices with Entra, which is selected as all. And during the registration, do you still need MFA or not? And number of devices a user can enroll or can register ideally here. Okay, so this is for per user 50 devices can register. And also during the enrollment, do you want to add them as the local admin or not? So all these are the designing concerns you need to plan before you actually configure, because whatever we are trying to configure is a one-time configuration. So the important one would be here, users may join devices. If so, do they need MFA? And yes, no. If not, how many devices can user can register? The default value is 50. And if you just go back to enrollment in Microsoft Intune under devices, under device onboarding enrollment, and this is where the device limit also there. So this list is ideally 5 devices by default. It will be configured. So if you look at this list, per user is 50, and the lesser list within Microsoft Intune, a user can have 5 devices as a by default configuration will be there. I just edited earlier 15 for my testing, but ideally it would be 5. So you have to now think in this direction. A user can register even though 50 from an Entra point of view. Since you are learning Intune and you are responsible for Microsoft Intune, now it's only allowed is 5. More than 5, it will fail to enroll. Okay, that we need to remember. Not only that, now let's also talk about one other important one under onboarding, device onboarding, enrollment, something called device platform restrictions. So this is additional configuration that you need to configure if you are trying to block some of the devices or their operating system or the make, you would be doing it. So in our case, as you can see here, under enrollment restrictions, we have a Windows, also Android and Mac and iOS. So if I just, as soon as I click on this all users and selecting the properties, and if I try to edit, I get the option. So you can see here Microsoft Windows devices allow for personal, and this is for the corporate is anyway it's allowed. Okay, so you have an option to block even for some of them are supported even manufacturing, some of them are not supported device specific. So let's say your company always buy Samsung, then you can say that only Samsung manufacturing is allowed in order to enroll the enterprise. And in case if you're trying to enroll DA, which is already retired method, so we always block it, but this option will go off sooner, even from this navigation or within this page. Okay, and iOS, iPad specific, you can allow a block, or for example, your company is only allowing Samsung devices, then you're more specific, or you can block Android and allow or block both the type of devices also. Right, now when we go back to the Mac, you also have the restrictions here, and you can choose even the minimum version, maximum version, and also you want to allow personal or not. These are the additional things that you need to consider before you are trying to enable or configure these things. So in our case, we are more specific to Windows. So now you know that there is no restrictions on a Windows. You see here, hello, everything is configured, and you might have a consideration, hey, can I have a multiple set of policies? Yes, you do have. There is an option, click on create restriction and example. This is just giving as a test. So once I gave these options, example, this becomes as the second list. The default one is the last. So it will try to enroll with this method, or it will try to look for this restrictions. And here, if it is blocked, it will stop here. If not, it will go on to the next list and it will validate. So always take the priority one as the first attempt and the second is the last. So that's how we would create enrollment restrictions. Also, lastly, we can also look into the terms and conditions that you need to configure. So which you could do it from the tenant and administration. Let's say if a device is trying to enroll, they need to accept these terms and conditions. So that way the users are know that the device belongs to so and so, and failing to follow these terms and conditions, they might legally not accepting or falling their data to secure all of that. Terms and conditions also we could give it here straightforward here, and you could have multiple conditions that can be given, and all of them can again assign to a different users also possible. So in this case I have created already with a title, and all these, for example, my testing is going on leninmylab.com, and all the rights I have on that device, all of that comments. And then if the users are accepted, they would be getting here in terms of the reporting the number of users are accepted. For example, these are the users has accepted, even they deleted. I mean the user accounts has been deleted in this case. So some of the users you could happily see from the list. So these are the couple of things. So that being said, if you just review what we have learned so far, we tried for the Windows enrollment. We discussed those points. For the enrollment, we know that there is a personal and company owned devices. Either way, we first looked at the top level for the automatic enrollment options with the scope for MDM and the MAM. MAM is for without enrolling the devices. Still you can manage their applications, whereas the MDM is devices must have to enroll. We would look into the MAM later point in a different video, as that itself a different concept. And device settings also we had looked into it, for example allowing the users to join the devices to intra with the limit maximum as the 50, and also during the registration we have configured MFA is not required. The reason being, if you're trying to enable MFA when device registration, it might fail for your autopilot, all of that stuff. So that's where Microsoft recommends you don't need that. And also during the enrollment, do you want to add even the end user who is trying to add as a local admin? We did configure that specific setting also. So you might have question again, just to give it a clear note. If a device is enrolled, the user is trying to enroll, right? So the user automatically becomes as a sometimes local admin. So that might not a requirement for you. In that case, you have to change these settings from the device settings from Microsoft Entra portal. And we also checked the enrollment restrictions from Microsoft Intune portal, and also device categories and terms and conditions. Now let's jump into the demo. Let's quickly start with the enrollment process for bring your own device or personally owned device. I'm switching back to my Windows 11 machine, and consider this as my personal device. So we are learning how to enroll your personal device to Microsoft Intune. So to do that, you have to click on Start button, click on Settings, navigate to Accounts, and this is where the tricky part comes. So you can click on Access or Work or School and connect it, or you can simply enroll only in Device Management Solution. So you have an options here, either choose the enroll only in device management or use this method. Any of the method can be selected. If you choose the first method, which is add work or school, you have to enter here this is where you have to enter the company account. Okay. But if you are trying to enroll with the corporate enrollment method, you have to choose this method. Okay. So this method for your corporate enrollment or your company owned devices, and this is for your personal owned devices. So that being said, let's enter here corporate mail ID. Here, click on next. This will take it to my authentication page. And once I accept these terms and conditions, you see here the terms and conditions that we have configured, which is getting affected. So you see more read in terms. You can see all of these terms, right? So how this is coming from this page. If you remember, we have configured under tenant administration and terms and conditions. So these are the terms and conditions are coming from here. So the title, all of this stuff is coming from here, right? User terms and conditions. And once we have accepted these, it will start checking in the enrollment section. It will also go and look for this authentication here. Do we have this configuration is available or not? And then it will set all set. That's all. Now we have this configured clearly. As you can see here in Microsoft Intune portal, the device is showing as a personal and also got enrolled, and it is a complaint. So it should receive even all the policies and the applications ultimately. So if I just go back here and info, as you can see here, other policies got deployed. Also some of the applications also got deployed, like OpenVPN GUI. All of that came directly from Microsoft Intune. And let me also show you the device name just for, you can see here I logged into the local user account, and this is the L7U7 HVP. So in this case, if I just go back to Microsoft Intune portal, you can see the same device is already showing with the user account. So that being said, that way we can conclude that Microsoft Intune specific Windows device, this is how you could onboard. I did not talk about the configuration policies or the complaints policies, scripts, all of that. I would be talking on them later point once we have learned even corporate enrollment. With respect to the corporate enrollment, now you could do with the Windows Autopilot, which I'm not going to talk in this lecture because it itself needs a lot of attention. So I wanted to make it as a separate lecture on that. But I'm going to show you how to enroll manually as a corporate device, and also I will be showing a co-managed device, how this becomes as a corporate device. And also we will be learning corporate device identifier. With the serial number based, we can enroll that specific device also as a corporate. So as you can see here, as we talk, the co-management device, it is actually treated as the corporate. So co-management is nothing but the same device. I mean, this is a device will have the SCCM or Microsoft Configuration Manager client will be there, and also Microsoft Intune will be there. So some settings will be managed by Intune, some other settings will be managed by SCCM. So on this specific device, both the management engines are available, and you can manage with any of these. That's called the co-management. So any device that is coming from a co-management automatically treats as corporate ownership. Okay, and now how do you enroll is simple. You just have to install SCCM client on the same machine. If you have already enrolled the device as a corporate, simple, it becomes as a co-managed and also reports as a corporate. Now that being said, let's actually let me show you how to enroll a specific device as a corporate. So I logged into a different machine which I wanted to make it as the corporate enrollment. So let me show you the host name of the computer. This is a host name. So to make it manually enrolled, without the autopilot, you can navigate to settings, accounts, navigate to access work or school, and again connect work or school account, that's your company account. So in the personal enrollment, what we have done is we entered here the email ID on a personal device, right? But now if you have internet connection to this device, so in my case I don't have now, you would be getting here additional step to enroll into Microsoft Intune. Okay, if you do not have in internet, you don't see this option. So this is completely dynamic. So let me connect the internet. Now as you can see, now I do have internet, so let me go back to the same window, connect, and this time I should be able to see here, join this device to Microsoft Entra ID. So this option is now visible, right? So now let's click on this option. So when you click on this specific option, you should be able to join the device to Microsoft Entra as well as to Microsoft Intune. So if you try to enroll as a personal device, you would be entering here um, the account details of your company. But if you're trying to enroll this device as a corporate, you would be enrolling here. So what would happen is this would actually take it to only Microsoft Entra, meaning what we are trying to learn, we are trying to learn the devices that are not in Active Directory. How do you join? How do you manage? That's what we are trying to learn. We are trying to learn Microsoft Entra joined only devices. I did not talk about how to join Active Directory devices also. That step is different. I would talk on that in a minute in a different machine, because I have to swap different machines, right? So in the first device I shown you how to join for the bring your own device. Now this time only workgroup based device, meaning it's not part of your local Active Directory. And you can see that very clearly that if you type dsreg cmd/status, you can see this device is not joined to Entra nor your local Active Directory. Okay, so this is the command will be used. DS stands here directory services registration command with the status. That's what we are trying to check. And now click on join this device to Microsoft Entra ID and give the user account details. Click on next, enter the password and sign in. As we can see that there is no terms and condition this time displayed because this user already accepted once the terms and conditions. So that being said, now within this window, it is asking with a prompt, are you sure to join to memcourse.com? That's a tenant, and you would become as the administrator. So if you remember, we did talked about how the user by default becomes as the local admin with our workflow, right? So as per this, now the user also becoming as a local administrator. This is where within Microsoft Entra in device settings, this is where the user becomes as the local administrator when they are trying to join. This option was selected, that's why the user is becoming as a local administrator by default, and it is showing here. So let me click on join, and in the back end it will join the device to Microsoft Entra as well as to Microsoft Intune. And you can see that it is all set, and it is advising the user to switch the account and log in with the account that we used to join. So in this case we used memcourse at the ms user at memcourse.com. So we would be using this account, and we will try to log in with this user account with this password once we click on done. So it says that user have to log off and log in with the corporate account that we have used to log in. So this window was not shown in the personal devices, because on a personal device the user account belongs to the local user, and automatically a token will be available, and with that token it will try to connect with Microsoft Intune as well as to Microsoft Entra. So in this case we are good to click on done, and we would switch on it. So you could see here again you have more information, like info button is available, all of these, but some of the user specific settings doesn't apply. In this case it is even asking for the disk to be encrypted. These all works, but some of the user things doesn't work because of we did not logged in as the end user, right? So let me before log off, let me run this time DSLeg and see. You are getting all the tenant specific additional device registration URLs and the device registration ID, that's a device ID, all of that stuff, including it says that, hey, your device is joined to Azure AD, that's nothing but a Microsoft Entra, and all of that stuff is available. And the most important one is the SSO state, all of that, that's it's not showing here. Now let's log off and log in back, sign out. So you see here other, this is what we have to use, msuser at memcodes.com and the password of that user account. Now the device is logged in, and now I can show you the dsleg command. And now as you can see, SSO state is showing because earlier I did not logged in as a user account. Now I should be able to see Azure ADPRT status, and this device is now properly joined to Microsoft, and all the policies should be getting applied. So you can simply click on info button here and get additional policies that are needed in this case. So that being said, let me switch back to Microsoft Intune portal and show you some additional configuration. So let's refresh. Here we should be able to see here the device. So this is a device that we are talking about, which we just joined. So you see here, this is a device name, right? So this device is now showing in Microsoft Intune portal as a corporate enrollment. So that concludes how to join, bring your own device as well as corporate device manually. So far we learn about Windows enrollment options like personal device enrollment. I did explain how to do that with a step-by-step, and we also learned about the company-owned devices with the manual option. We did not explore the Windows Autopilot options. As I promised, I would be covering in another video. But we did cover manually how to enroll if a device is a personal device or a company-owned device, how to join them. Right now it's time for us to understand about the corporate device identities. So how do you identify a device is a corporate or the corporate device identity? So in this case, if you see here, identity is nothing but your serial number. Let's say you have a mobile device and you might have a serial number, right? So technically, if you think there's no serial number, it would be IMEI number for your mobiles, right? So that's your unique identity of your mobile. Similarly, for Windows, the laptops or desktop, they will have the serial number. So that concludes easy way to add by using that serial number or IMEI number as the corporate device identities. So that we can easily identify that as the corporate device. For that, what we do is we simply open up Microsoft Intune portal and go to devices and onboarding, device onboarding, click on enrollment and open up corporate device identifiers, and this is where you can add by upload, you can upload a CSV format file, or you can even manually enter. So the file will be given which should contain your IMEI number or serial number. So in this case, let's say if my serial number is XYZ some number, example, if this is a serial number, you can give some additional information like this is my Lenovo P model example, whatever that series you can give. And then if the serial number matches, that device becomes as automatically corporate. So how do you identify is you would go back to your devices, simply let's actually complete this action. Just now the action has been completed, so that we can see here. This is the serial number. So if serial number is matching, automatically if the device is found in any of your devices list with that specific serial number, automatically the device becomes as the corporate device. That's how you can make the devices corporate device identified based as a company owned. Now we will left over with the co-management enrollment. For co-managed devices, I would like to show you how this works is, let's say I picked up one of the endpoint. In this case, this is one of my test device from my on-premises, which is also have Microsoft Intune onboarded, as well as the it is also onboarded to config MGR server, and you can see co-management is enabled, and all the actions are available. This is a site code. So now what happens is, since this device is already having the config MGR client software, now if you onboard, so how did I onboard it is, this device we use the Microsoft group policies to automatically onboard. We use the Microsoft group policy. So the group policy settings are registered domain joined computer as the Entra join. So this is where the device gets automatically joined to Microsoft Entra, and later point the same device will be enrolled to Microsoft Intune. So these two additional settings has been configured. Of course, we also synced up with the Microsoft AD Connect tool, AD Sync tool, with the objects that has been synced up. So this specific section, how do you do this configuration with the hybrid AD join, we will look into a different lecture on Microsoft Entra Connect tool or the Cloud Sync. How do we configure all of this configuration? But think at this point of time, yeah, we use a group policy to automatically join any device that is part of Active Directory, that is local Active Directory, will be joined to your Entra, and then Entra joined devices will automatically also join to Microsoft Intune, provided if the user have a Microsoft Intune license. That's how we configured. So because of that, the user have a license here. If you see who am I, the user is MS user from my local user. He has a license which is getting assigned. That's why this user got automatically enrolled. So I've not done manual thing. This is a fully automated. What I wanted to convey here is, with hybrid AD automatic joining option, it would be fully automated. Corporate device, fully automated. The co-management enrollment method is fully automatic. This also a part of your, I would say, hybrid Entra join devices, okay, and also co-management is a fully automated. You no need to do manual steps. So in the previous lecture or previous section, or within this lecture, we did added manually, right? That step is not needed. Imagine if you have a 300,000 devices, you do not go there and configure all of that stuff manually, right? So how do you do is, just now I shown you, you would be configuring those group policies, all of that stuff, and then automatically the devices will become as Microsoft Intune managed as a company owned device. Okay, so that's how it's gonna do, and that Entra specific configuration we would do it later point. But with respect to co-management, yes, we are covering within this lecture. Like as you can see here, now this specific user device is already having Microsoft Configuration Manager. There's a SCCM client software is available, and it is actually working fine, right? So because of that, the device also automatically joined with the help of group policies to Microsoft Entra and Intune. You see here the same info button is showing, and all the policies are coming up, and we did even run the ds regcmd/status. This also will show you with a proper information like Azure AD PRT record, and device type. If you just closely notice here, Azure AD also joined, enterprise joined. This is nothing but if you have a ADFS, then you would come into the picture. So I don't have ADFS here, and that's not a test case also. But if you see here, the interesting thing is the domain joined is yes. So the same machine also joined to your local Active Directory, also to Microsoft Entra, and this device is managed by your MDM. So that's why there's an MDM complaints policy, MDM URLs, all of that details are coming up automatically. With this, we can say that the device is successfully enrolled to Intune. And now from a Microsoft Configuration Manager point of view, you need to configure your cloud services, also attach as a cloud attach, and you also need to configure your co-management configuration. Apart from that, you also have to configure on your client agent settings. Ensure to check the cloud services configuration automatically. Register new Windows 10 devices or later to join with Microsoft Entra ID, as well as the join to use the cloud management gateway devices also. So these options will also automatically configure to hybrid AD. Also will be used in the co-management point of view. Now I'll be discussing most important critical point. Very few people knows this. Okay, technically when a device is co-managed, if you just click on that specific device, you would see exactly the meaning of the co-management with what functionality is managed by what. For example, if I slightly go down and increase the font size for your comfort, you see here under co-management, the config MGR is healthy and loss check-in configuration is available. And also, since we are checking from Microsoft Intune point of view, we should be able to see here all of this configuration is managed by Intune. So Intune taking a lot of responsibility in this point of time for your co-managed devices. So this is where you would be looking what is managed by what. So when I say what, config MGR is managed by what things, and your Intune managed by what other workloads it would be managed. So that information you can find out inside the co-management section. So that being said, we have done far better compared with the previous lecture, I think, because we talked in the previously only given an idea, but now we know it a little further for the enrollment. Now, in the next lecture, we should be talking more about configuration profiles as well as the scripts deployment and compliance policies. All of that stuff we should be able to discuss. So make sure that you check the upcoming lecture. If you have not yet subscribed, please do subscribe so that you get more recommended videos from my channel. That being said, I'll catch you in the next lecture. Thank you.